All right, what is going on, and welcome back to the fifth episode of the Tipped Out Podcast. Your hosts, Danny Christie and Brandon Palmer, and now my dog, Marley. So, what is going on, brother? How you doing?
Well, I'm doing well. I wish my shoulders didn't look so narrow in this. I need to get broader.
I think it's all about the angles, bro.
You can edit it, bro. Just bring my shoulders out to like there.
Drop this down a little. There we go. It's squared up. Oh, I sit right shoulder low all the time.
Do I go like this?
Okay. I think that's better.
All right. So let's dig into it.
Topic of today's discussion, we are going to do not sure how many part series yet, but a basics series on, fixing certain golf faults or flaws. So,
and there's no better place to start with that than the fundamentals
exactly.
of grip, posture, alignment, or however you like to say it. Some people like grip, posture, setup.
Perfect. So today we're going to let Danny talk a lot on alignment and what he feels is necessary inside that. So take it away.
We don't need to make it so one-sided. I think you have some valuable additions to alignment as well. But so basically, we'll start with my opinion on alignment and importance of aligning yourself correctly and the common faults that we see with alignment. And I'll actually just start right into that. So what's everybody's favorite thing to do? Slice the ball. If you go out to your local course and you start paying attention to where guys are lining up, it is not where they're actually trying to hit the ball. Like, I can say that fairly confidently. I feel like I've been around golf long enough and I've seen enough swings. I will watch and 10 out of 10 almost are aimed usually right of their target if you're a righty. So they aim too far right and their brains are still trying to hit it down the middle. So when we're aimed right and we're trying to hit it down the middle, which is left of where our body is aimed, we are always going to be swinging across our body and swinging the club left. Now, when we swing the club left, that's typically the over-the-top move, people like to call it. Once you start doing that, then there's a lot of other altercations, but it all comes, I believe, from alignment. And I think a lot of people's issues is they start playing golf and they think they know where they're aimed and they play for a while aimed the wrong way, and then their body gets used to that alignment. And from there we develop bad habits. So alignment is a crucial fundamental, and I think it can prevent a lot of bad habits in your golf swing. So if you're like monitoring a junior golfer, or you are just trying to improve your own game or the game of a buddy, keep each other's alignment in check. Help them understand what positions they need to feel a setup to actually be aimed correctly. Would you like to add on to that?
No, that's so solid. That's true. Like, use people as reference just as I would use your phone as a reference. So always use your mirror, use your phone, use a friend, check alignment. It's huge or sometimes we don't see much of tour pros, practicing. If you go ahead and just YouTube tour pro practice session or range session, it might be different, of course, from a tournament, the round before a tournament, or the practice before a tournament, or, them just at home on the weekends practicing. But the crucial thing is you're going to see them go through grip, aim, and posture work almost every shot, if not every session. So it's always alignment rods. It's stepping behind the ball, going through full routines. It's always checking grip. Of course, yes, they have more resources than many of us weekend warriors do, but still, they're always going through the check. And they're professionals. They do this 7 days out of the week. So,
very well. Yep.
So you think if they keep doing it each time they play, and we only play once, twice a week, twice a month, something like that, then every swing we're going to have to really focus on alignment, posture, and course grip.
Totally. I think another thing to point out is the importance of where each like body part that we like to focus on for alignment is actually pointing.
Yep.
Because there's another aspect of alignment where people, you'd hear the term cross-aligned, or they're just not matching their body parts up. So when we look at alignment, you really want to look at shoulders, hips, and I'd say feet. And then arms are really important too, but I feel like arms are kind of a byproduct of your shoulder alignment.
Yeah.
So we want them all working the same way. Everybody's heard the term parallel left, or if you haven't, parallel left is you want your body lines. Okay, so parallel left applies to right-handed golfers. Let's start with that. If you're a lefty, it'd be parallel right. But you want your body lines as a right-handed golfer to be lining up parallel left of your target line, which your target line is going from the ball, your club face, to your target. Sounds simple, but that's literally what it is. So that's your line right there, right? We don't stand on the golf ball when we swing. So our lines are not going to be pointed at exactly the same point, but they're going to be pointed in exactly the same direction, if that makes sense. I guess that'd be how I'd say it. So imagine a railroad track. Your body lines are going to be running parallel left to your target line as a right-handed golfer. But with that explained, you want your shoulders, hips, feet, arms, all those to be kind of working together towards the same thing. It's when we stand naturally, we stand aligned for the most part. Our body parts line up, and we want that happening in our setup to the golf ball. When we're not in that state of relaxed standing, we have tension in different areas, and I think that's very important too, to be relaxed while we're about to hit a golf ball. If you were to stand up right now and align your shoulders one way and your hips another, you're going to feel a lot of uncomfortable tension, which is going to be difficult to make a more consistent move at the ball with that tension in your body.
Yep. Yeah, it'll preset you in a different position than it would have. Your hips are already open or closed, and then your shoulders are one way, and it promotes path and plane as well. And then you have to talk about the whole other topic of grip being involved, like you said, or furthermore, the fact that you said, looking at the forearms, now that's going to be a byproduct of how you grip the club, like you said, your shoulders, everything like that. When looking down the line at another golfer, we're going to be able to tell if his forearms are aligned or one set above or higher.
Yep.
Most of the time, what we're going to see with a higher handicap golfer is that trail arm to be higher than the lead of the glove hand. A lot of good golfers will have that soft trail elbow, and will be able to come from the inside, be able to shallow it out, transition a lot easier than someone going
totally
stack it and then use the big muscles to turn it back over. And that's just going to be steep across and not much face control on that.
And don't overcomplicate it. There's a lot of times someone will be like, why am I slicing it? It's too simple sometimes, but sometimes the reason you're slicing it is because you're set up to swing left, and then your face stays square to that line that it started on. And with that ratio of path to face, it's always going to curve right on you. If you're righty and you're going to slice it.
Golfers are athletes, man, and that's what's happening. We are just subconsciously knowing where we want to hit the ball. But since we're set up in a terrible direction or a terrible way, improperly, it just is counterproductive to what we want to do as golfers, as athletes. And that's a big thing. Start with alignment. If you're hitting slices, check your alignment. If you're hitting hooks, check your alignment. There's a lot of things that play into it. And like you stated, let's start ground up. Let's check the base of things, the basics, and then we'll go from there. Because it could be as simple as that. Improper alignment could be affecting your grip, and your perspective is one thing. That's why we line up on the same line as our target line, is because it's all perspective. People look down that way. They look right over their lead shoulder, right to the target. Now, a big thing to look at or to check, or a little kind of tip, is use your lead shoulder and the target to make sure you're properly aligned. So when you're looking down at the target, when you're in your golf posture, there should be a gap between your lead shoulder and the target. And if there's not, it means your shoulders are just extremely close.
Yeah.
So that's a good little check. And then, you just work down from there. You got your shoulders, square those up, and then feel your hips aligned and you'll look down at your feet. We just got to start with that kind of stuff on the range. A very simple alignment drill or tip is, have alignment stick down for your toe line, which is the imaginary line. It's basically where your feet are aimed. And then have alignment rod, a club, something beyond the ball, but on the target line. So just going to be those 2 railroad tracks, let you follow right down the line and have your feet in the right spot each time. So.
Definitely. I think, give me a sec. I'm thinking for a sec. I was trying to gather my thoughts based off of what you said. Oh, here's the other thing. Advantages of paying attention to your alignment, which is something that I've preached for a while now, is like, imagine if you were, it's like your baseline. It's your foundation, it's your baseline. You can't get feedback that's effective if you don't know where you're aimed, right? Because if you don't actually, a lot of people really don't truly know where they're aimed. I promise you, and people don't seem to care about it that much. But if you think about it, if you want to get better and you want to improve and you want to understand why your ball's going this way or that way, you should probably figure out your baseline where you're aimed, because you're never going to be able to how do you know where you should be hitting it if you don't even know where you're aimed? You know what I mean? Yeah. So if you're,
how do you shoot an arrow and not be aimed at the target? Like, think about that,
Yeah. So it's very crucial, and it's your feedback mechanism. You cannot figure out where you're missing if you don't know where you're aimed.
Yep.
So how are you ever going to know if you're missing it right if you don't know where you're aimed to begin with?
Exactly.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Other thing too, I think happens a lot is, do you ever, I think this comes down to alignment a lot of times. I think we've all been there where you stand over a ball and you feel so bad and you're like, I have no chance of hitting this correctly. We've all had that when we're over a ball and things feel off. Then we've had the feeling where you're over a ball and you feel great. And I think from experience, personal experience, I've seen it with other people, the times where you feel great are when you've actually got your alignment in check and everything matches up. But it's very hard to hit a golf ball if your body's not accommodating your brain and where you want to hit it.
That's big right there. That's the end all be all of it. If your body and your brain are not matched up, you're not going to hit a good shot. And that's so true as well. But like you said, when I don't feel good over the ball, it's because I go back to my old habits and my feet are closed, my shoulders are closed, and I like to hit it from the inside. So I know from that position, from knowing hitting bad shots enough, that I'm just going to be too inside, I'm going to be too locked up, and it's going to be a block because improper alignment, but I'm athletic enough to know what I want to do with the club. So it just doesn't match up. So the times I feel the best are when I feel open at address, but when it's really just me.
Yep, I'm the same way.
And I'm all square. So from that position, I'm extremely free just to fire one down the target line, hands finish nice and high, and I know it's going to go to my target. Whereas those days I get a little too closed off, right? I stop working on alignment. I play pretty poorly, and it's truly just goes back to the simplicity of alignment and the basics.
And a big thing for me, I can totally jump off that, is my feel is I tend to aim right as well, like a lot of people do. I have no shame in that. I'm a natural over-the-topper for sure. But my feel is definitely once I start to get my alignment more correct and more at my target, parallel left, let's get it right. Anyway, as soon as my alignment becomes more correct, I then feel like I have more room for my arms to swing.
Yep, 100%.
Which is weird, but that's just my feel. And feels don't always match reels, but it's just important that you understand where you really are, and the feel that you have for when you're in that position. But for me, when I begin to aim more left and actually get aimed correctly at the target, I feel like there's more room for my arms to get through the ball as opposed to almost running into your body, because once you're aimed right and you're trying to hit it back this way, there's only so much room for my arms to go this way, I guess is the way I'd like to say it. But if I feel then like I just get the club in the slot and then I can just turn and let it go.
Yep. So is there, I already touched on one little drill or setup, but is there something you go to for alignment or to work on it, or is it just basic?
I think alignment is one of the things that's very hard to do a drill necessarily alone. My advice for people that are trying to get their alignment correct is a pre-shot routine, which is typical, but it really, I think, is the best way to exact and try to make a consistent setup position and align your body properly repeatedly. And that is, I stand behind my ball, I put my club up in a direct line between my ball where I want to hit it. I pick out a mark in front of my golf ball, an intermediate target, if you will. I then walk in, and I try to walk in kind of wide so I can then imagine my target line, and I feel myself walking in parallel to that target line. And then kind of just set it up from there, get my club face pointed where I want, and then try to align myself again parallel to that line. I definitely align myself better when I truly visualize and imagine and feel those things. And definitely pay the price if I get lazy and don't think about those things. My alignment always ends up whack.
No, I think that really covers it all. It's just going to come down to it. Like, if you want to get better, you have to work on the basics.
And you have to pay attention always.
Yep.
It's like brushing your teeth every morning. You don't have bad breath if you don't brush.
You don't hit bad shots. You don't work on that alignment.
So you gotta brush well too.
Brush well.
Or maybe use mouthwash.
You gotta.
Sometimes brushing's not enough.
Gotta floss too.
Floss.
Grip.
I just went to the dentist today. That's why that was all in my head.
What was it?
I haven't been flossing enough, bro.
100 cavity.
I don't have a cavity, but I have a soft spot on here.
I don't know what that means. Like a baby.
Not a big flosser.
Like a baby's head, soft spot. Shit, that's gonna wrap it up. All right, this has been episode 5 of the Tip Out Podcast with Danny Quithy and Buen Pamo. All right, man. It's been real
good. Effective.
Effective, good.
Check your alignment for God's sake.
For goodness sake.
Excuse me, Mom.
For goodness sake.
Ask your buddy to record you. Record yourself. Ask your buddy to watch you. Keep it in check. You can't do this thing alone.
Can't do it alone. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho. Pimp.